Hello everybody, this is Bill Keller with Bailey International and welcome to another edition of our product demo line. This is for our MVP Center, Motors, Pumps and Valves, and today we're going to talk about solenoid valves. I'm going to have several different terms and this is going to go pretty fast. There's going to be a lot of information, so you may have to pause or watch this over again, and if you can, that's fine. And if there's something you don't understand, there'll be a phone number at the end of this where you can call and talk to any of our experts and why they'll help you design what you need to design. Okay, so generally these valves are defined by the ways and positions. Okay, so ways are ways that oil flows through the valve. This manifold here has a pump line in, a tank line out, and A and B ports. So this is a four-way valve. Okay, oil flows in pressure, out tank, and then out of work ports A and B, and sometimes back in work ports A and B. So this is a four-way valve. Now, this valve has a left, a right, and a center position. So it's three positions. So this is a four-way, three-position valve. Now, what differentiates this valve from this valve is what goes on when this valve is de-energized and in the center position. Now, this particular one is a tandem center valve. So when the valve is centered, meaning there's no electricity going to either one of these coils, oil can flow from the pump to the tank. So it can flow continually from pump to tank, and then when you want oil to go to your cylinder or motor or what have you, you fire one of these solenoids and then the oil goes from the pump to either the A or the B port. Okay, easy enough. This one is what we call a closed center. So when this valve is de-energized and in the center position, no oil can flow in any of these ports. Okay? What makes these similar is that in the center position, both work ports are blocked on these valves. Oil can flow through this valve and oil can't flow through this valve in the center position. That means that these have to be on two separate types of manifolds. Okay? Now, this one, since it's a single station manifold, it is a parallel manifold, which means if you have two or more valves stacked on a manifold, all the oil is available to each pressure port on each valve at one time. Okay? So if your spool's centered and no oil can go in this port, if you fire the next valve down in that sequence, you can get all the oil in this valve and it doesn't have to go to this valve first. Now, with this tandem valve, you need what's called a series manifold, which means the oil will flow into this valve and then out of this valve and then into this valve and out of this valve before it completes its circuit back to tank. Which means this valve in front has the priority flow over this valve back here. So if you leave this valve closed, or you leave this valve unshifted or de-energized, then your oil can go to this valve and it gets all the oil, but it has to go through this valve first. Okay? Think of series valves as lights on a Christmas tree, right? If you pull one light off, the whole line goes dark, right? That means the electricity has to flow from light to light to light. With a parallel block, that's not the same. With a parallel block, all the oil is common to all the pressure ports. Again, we talked about our manifolds last time. We can do so much with manifolds, and we can also not only put cartridge valve in our manifolds, but we can use these valves as well. You can put modules under here. So say you have a valve that you want long-term load holding. Say you have something that you need to raise up and it's got to stay up until you want it to come back down. You can put a PO check module under this thing and it'll do that for you. If you want something, maybe you've got something that really can't handle a lot of pressure, you can put what's called a port relief on there, where you can reduce that pressure so it's not going to slam down or anything. We can design anything like that for you. Give our MVP Center a call today. Let them know what you're dealing with and let them know your application and let them help you find the exact valve that you need to get you up and running. And that's all we've got for today, so thank you and have a good one.